It had taken exactly 27 years for Lucas Abbott to wish he hadn't been born a twin. Most of the time, he embraced his status as one half of the younger set of Abbott twins, who spread good humor and cheerful dispositions everywhere they went in Vermont's Northeast Kingdom. But right now, he was furious with the man who was his doppelganger in every possible way. Not only were they so identical that their own siblings often confused them, but he and Landon shared almost all the same interests. They had the same friends, the same schedule, the same everything, including, Lucas had discovered to his dismay, the same taste in women. Earlier today, he'd overheard Landon talking about his date the night before with Amanda Presley, the woman Lucas had been out with 2 nights ago. It had been the best first date of his life. But then he'd heard Landon say the same thing to their brother Will. Hearing that, the euphoria Lucas had walked around with since his evening with Amanda had fizzled like steam hitting cold air. Tonight, he had to go make nice with Landon and the rest of their family, who were gathering at the barn where the 10 Abbott siblings had been raised, to celebrate his and Landon's 27th birthday. Happy birthday to him, and the last person on earth he wanted to hang out with right now. That, in and of itself, was a first. Lucas and Landon were known for being thick as thieves, as their grandfather often said. Lucas stepped out of the shower in his loft over the barn at the family-owned Christmas tree farm that Landon managed. He hadn't wanted to live on the property, so he'd given Lucas the apartment and found his own place on the outskirts of Butler, the town they called home. For a brief time, they'd entertained the idea of living together in the loft apartment. Thank God they hadn't done that, because Lucas would be packing his stuff after today. Studying his reflection in the mirror, he encountered the face of a changed man. Maybe it was his birthday, or perhaps it was meeting a woman who truly interested him. He wasn't sure what it was, but something was definitely different. He'd gone so far as to shave the beard he normally sported during the winter, because he'd thought she would prefer him clean-shaven. Now he was growing it back. Thankfully, his beard came in quickly. He didn't want anyone mistaking him for Landon. The situation had him unsettled and pissed off as he dressed in his usual winter uniform of thermals, flannel, denim, and insulated boots before stepping into the frozen tundra to head to his parents' house. He should have made up a fake illness to get out of the annual pizza and cake tradition, but like the rest of his siblings, Lucas was robustly healthy. They wouldn't have believed him if he'd said he was sick. Since the last thing he needed was an Abbott family inquisition, he got into his truck and headed for Hell's Peak Road, taking the most direct route through town. On Elm Street, he drove past the family's Green Mountain Country Store on the right and his sister-in-law Megan's diner on the left. Technically, his grandfather Elmer owned the diner, but Megan was the one who made it happen. As he approached the 1-lane covered bridge that was located right before the turn onto Hell's Peak, he stopped short, slamming on the brakes to avoid hitting Fred, the town moose, who stood in the middle of the road, seemingly without a care in the world. Lucas laid on the horn. Fred gave him a perturbed look, but didn't move. Great. Lucas shifted the truck into park, accepting that he was going to be late for his own party. He wished he could have headed to his wood shop and lost himself in the work that fed his soul, especially at times like this when his soul needed nourishment. Being at odds with anyone in his family was the worst. Being at odds with Landon had the power to break him. In a family of 10 kids, there'd been plenty of arguments and actual fights, but he had never once truly argued with Landon, who had been his ally and best friend for every day of their 27 years. Until Amanda came to town and they both asked her out. Not wanting to hurt any feelings, she'd accepted both invitations. No one ever took him or Landon seriously, so why should she?